How can a seller be flexible to help selling the home for more? There are several ways that a seller can be flexible to help and sell the home for a higher price. Um, People think that it's not possible, but it is because you're actually helping with the buyer's pain points. One of the first things that you could do is the pricing strategy. So, if the seller is open to adjusting the listing price based on market feedback and comparable sales are not entirely accurate because it's based off of what sold recently. But if you were to compare with the properties on the market and look at the foot traffic into those open house, if they have any open houses, you can readjust that price range before you list that property of yours, driving more people into your interest into your house. That's one way. The second thing is accommodating the buyer's preferred timeline. Sometimes buyers have to get out of a rental agreement by giving 2 months notice, sometimes 3 months notice, and there is a break fee which they may not have money. There also is a situation where they have children and maybe a child going to elementary school and another child going to middle school, and if they have three children, another one going to high school, which was like in my situation with three children, and it was tough making that move because you had to time the schools, the distance from the house, and the start and finish of the school days because the timings were different. So that's another thing which as a seller, if you could consider, will aid in the ease of pain for the buyer who's really, really interested in putting that highest and best offer. The third would be contingencies. Consider accepting offers with reasonable contingencies, and it depends from marketplace to marketplace. Sometimes I have seen, I personally have written offers where there were 47, 50, 60 offers, and it's tough to keep any contingencies. But let's say that the house that you as a seller has to have a lot of upgrades, is not in a very desirable location, or even market conditions where the number of homes on the market have increased in that subdivision, and the interest rates, like in these current times, have gone up very high. The days on market from the time the house lists on the market to the time it's taken off the market or goes pending is much, much longer. The faster you can cut the number of days down, the faster you go into escrow and the faster the escrow closes. So if there is a way that you can be reasonably comfortable, of course nothing is comfortable when it comes to a sale of a house, but reasonably comfortable in considering some of the contingencies that the buyer is willing to um, put into their offer. They may be willing to pay a much higher price, and it works out good for everybody. Sometimes it may be just a appraisal contingency, sometimes it can be a financing contingency, and sometimes it can be a home inspection. But always check with your real estate agent who's more qualified, because real estate is very, very micro. There's nothing, I mean, as some people say, like look at the whole city, or even the subdivision, in my opinion, is too big to use for a pricing strategy in a particular house, or a kind of house, like if it's a 3 bedroom or a 4 bedroom, or it's a single family or a townhouse or a condo, because these things play. Even the age of the property matters, builder matters, square footage of the lot matters. Moving on, home improvements. So if you as a seller are willing to make minor repairs or upgrades requested by the seriously potential buyers, that would also help with the increase in the price, because all of this is negotiable. Even if the offer has been made, you could actually request through a counter these things, and possibly could get a better, higher price. The other thing you should consider is closing costs. Keep in mind, with in the Bay Area, if you're looking at an average sales price of a single family is between 1.6 to $2 million, most first-time home buyers in that category too although they look like they have a lot of money, are squeezed out after closing costs, um, taxes, the principal interest, insurances, home warranties, and cost of moving. And if they have another house, cost of carrying the mortgage on that house for 60 days at least, moving costs. I mean, it keeps adding up. So, if you as a seller can accommodate some of the closing costs, that would greatly help them in, easing their pain, and they may be willing to give you a higher price. The other thing is, you as a seller should consider adding home warranty, because most times, if your house is vacant, sometimes the refrigerator doesn't work, sometimes the washer dryer doesn't work, sometimes there's a leak in the pipes because nobody's using this. Rubber valves which are in use, they start leaking when there's not much usage. So you should consider all those things too, which is not much, but something you should consider. Another thing that could help with the buyer considering paying you a higher price is furniture and appliances. There was one particular situation in my first year, I remember very clearly. The homeowner did not want to part with the new refrigerator because she loved it. And the buyer wanted it because they didn't have any more money to buy a new refrigerator after moving into the new house. It came to a literal standoff where the buyer was willing to pull out of the entire transaction, and the seller was like, well, I don't care if they don't want to buy another refrigerator for $2,500. It's up to them. Well, they're actually buying $1 million house. And I had to intervene at that point and re educate and show value to the seller that this amount of money in ratio to the amount of money they're actually making while selling the house is significantly lower. And the homeowner actually understood that eventually, and then transferred the appliances, including the refrigerator, to the new homeowners who were the new buyers. Why I share that story is because it can be very contentious at sometimes, because whoever's living in that house, they have certain attachments to these appliances, but the person who's moving into the house has zero attachment because they don't have a relationship with that house yet, and all they're looking for is convenience and money. So if you could allay some of those fears of expenses before they move into the house, like all the appliances, washer, dryer, refrigerator, microwave, any of those things, which can help them, that'd be fantastic. And what the buyer would do is actually consider paying you even higher. The other thing you should really consider is a rent back option, allowing buyers to uh, rent back um, from them when they are about to uh, move out of their property, is something that you should consider, because it works both ways. Like, if you were going to rent back from the seller, you should also give a buffer period for the buyers to move in. That's something that you can work out through the contract. The next thing would be some way of financing if they can't have the whole amount. I mean, do consult with a CPA and a specialized lending company or a mortgage company, because they'll be able to guide you with that more. If you don't know anybody, I can introduce you to a few. But sometimes when the price of the house is too high, even though the buyers are really vested and they really want to buy the house, may not qualify, and there may be a portion of that loan they may not be able to pay. So there may be a situation where they might, through the agent, the buyer's agent, contact and say, can this owner or the seller be open to owner financing for a short period of time? So that is another thing that you should consider. The last thing that I would really put most of the weightage on is, although you are trying to get the highest and the best, the highest can be something or nothing if the best is not the best. What I'm trying to say is, like, if there's a situation where the buyers are willing to pay a higher amount of money on the price, but don't have any more money to pay the buyer's agent and for all the other closing costs, which I had mentioned earlier, then there's something called the the seller's concession towards the buyer's closing costs, which may include the buyer agent's commissions compensation too. So that is something that you could also consider in offering a higher compensation, not all the time, but if it works in your favor. As always, consult with your real estate broker or agent, or just contact me and I will take you to, because each case is case to case. Just wanted to bring you these pointers. If you have any other questions, reach me at the Bay Area Downsizer.com, 510 Thank you.